Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Starting a little early today, I forgot to start my chart. When I start the stream, I usually start everything up because it takes a little while for NinjaTrader to load the data. Oh, they're moving. Well, so we have the news here. Let's see if I can get the numbers here really quick. So we're looking at the ADP non-farm employment change. We were expecting 140K. We got 135K. So the number did disappoint a little bit. I can see, well, okay, so 615. Where did we start? 615. Okay, so we were kind of down here at 26 half. So we're actually started here, and there's a little spike up, and now we're back down. Are they going to push the other way now? That's kind of interesting. The E-mini actually appears to be buying. They're at 29.25. What? We lost almost 100 points in the past day. Good morning, Algo Lover and Uzi. Well, okay. So first thing, let's turn on the text to speech. There we go. And let's look over here at these charts. E-mini from yesterday, almost 100 points. So we did eventually. I actually kind of thought that they were going to take out this naked point of control yesterday, but it took till today. There's actually still some room on the downside that they could go. I'd have to look up, well, that 2900 is going to be really big psychological level for starters. So let's go with that. In the 10-year here, okay, so they took out the naked point of control that they had above us. Now with this particular piece of news, though, I'm wondering they might try and push back into 19, perhaps. Well, I don't really like to take trades before the open, even after the ADP. I've never played it. So we're just going to kind of wait and watch. Wednesdays are pretty good days, tend to be. But other than ADP, there's not a lot of news. We have crude oil inventories coming out. That could be a thing. We have FOMC member Williams speaking at 8:50.
YouTube, Algo Lover, ZN just popped the 130, 295 thumbs up. We'd anticipate them buying into a pullback to take it higher. Okay hand.
I think so, because they broke your upside down. Well, the chart, the larger term chart over the past 2 days looks quite bullish in Treasuries. But I'm just kind of going through like the probabilities based on the day itself. It's the beginning of the month that favors buying. It's a Wednesday that favors volatility. But we also had a really big mover yesterday, which is not favorable to volatility. We don't have a whole lot of news on the calendar that's not favorable to volatility. And we just had a piece of news that they are going counter to what the news was, essentially, because the news was bad. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was 135 versus 140. And we just ticked down like 8 ticks, right? So that kind of puts us in a difficult spot.
YouTube, Algo Lover, gotta run HAGD, thumbs up.
So I wouldn't mind buying it, I think. I wouldn't mind buying it other than the fact that the E-mini seems to be bullish at the moment. And there might be some deeper stuff in the data, so we'll look at that. Oh no, something went wrong. TweetDeck doesn't like me. TweetDeck's not working, guys. Oh, that's not cool. What am I gonna do?
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, TweetDeck not working should be a relief.
You would think so, but I want to know what I want to know what my news squawks will say. Big buyers are long from much lower down. They're saying here in the chat. Well, there's that 21.5 area. Oh yeah, that was where I got out yesterday, isn't it? Hmm. Well, I don't see a reason for me to be taking a trade here. Not yet. There is a little bit of a turn there in the 30-year. Maybe if I just keep clicking refresh. I don't know. Okay, we'll use the main Twitter feed. ADP employment disappoints, suffers drastic downward revisions, says Zero Hedge. Mohammed El Rain, ADP for September was lower than consensus expectations, together with the downward revision to prior estimate, signals a weakening pace of job creation, though not dramatic. Indeed, some will argue that it's simply a gradual convergence to what you would expect this late in the cycle. Yeah. So I don't see that this number is terrible. I'm actually, to be honest, I'm still of the opinion that the move yesterday might have been overdone. So I read a good post on Reddit in the economics forum, and this guy was in a little bit of denial, but he did a good job of going through the other numbers. And the thing that I did not realize is that the survey that we got yesterday it's a survey of the manufacturers, so it's weighed heavily by sentiment. And when you look at the actual output was still positive, although only slightly. And so you get the impression that the economic problems that we're seeing in the numbers this month, or that we're starting to see in the numbers this month so far at least, are significantly a large part of it due to sentiment and not actual economic factors pushing, basically they don't like the trade deal. They don't like the whole China thing. So on one hand, that does kind of bolster the arguments that it's a sentiment based recession driven by Donald Trump, but then also that Democrats clearly want to have a recession. But then it also means if we get a trade deal, this flips really quickly. Except for, I don't really believe that we're going to get a trade deal anymore, to be honest. I just don't think that China will do it. They don't believe in fairness. They don't believe in intellectual property rights, and they're not going to change. Donald Trump tweeted, do you stand with President Trump poll that showed 97% yes, but these were Breitbart readers, so. Come on, give me my news. Something went wrong. Volume is so thin it could change quickly. I'm not really getting any kind of like real flip signals. It really looks to me like somebody was holding it, expecting to get a big run off of the ADP number disappointing. It didn't happen. They dumped. And now there's no reason for them to, yeah.
YouTube,
Yesterday was
Uzi
insane.
Knesset. So, over the weekend I realized my primary hard drive was almost full. I was like, WTF? Totally neglected cleaning out old trading data. Ended up flushing like 122 gigabytes of old data, haha.
Holy crap. Well, they definitely. I mean, if we go and look at mine, like my Ninja Trader folder, it it uh it fills up quickly. Look at that, it's still going. It's probably 5 to 8 megabytes right now. 4.62 gigabytes.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset. Those files get massive right under your nose, lol.
Yeah, you have to keep an eye on it. Well, the thing is the thing that is like Ninja Trader doesn't really have anything about the retention because it's
YouTube,
like,
Uzi Knesset. Not just NT8 folder but Jigsaw too.
all right, Jigsaw has a database too. But it's like, man, why? Where's my Jigsaw one? My Jigsaw one. They don't. Okay, well that one's only 2.38. Um, it, it it's like after a week, I don't care, but it keeps it like forever. Well, I see some guys looking at some numbers and all this, but it's telling me to not touch it. I might take a sim trade. We'll see. Oh, so can I show you something else? So there's this Facebook group, E-mini S&P 500 futures day traders. Okay, and here's this meme that they have. You're not. Oh, I don't actually have to make it big. You're not a bad trader. The market was just manipulated. No. Oh, I don't even have the right window up. I'm sorry. You're not a bad trader. The market was just manipulated. No, sorry. Uh, all trading is manipulation to some degree. You cannot make. You cannot play in the market
YouTube,
without
Uzi
affecting the
Knesset.
market.
Wrong screen though, bro, lol.
Yeah. You can't when you place an order, it changes the market, even if it's just a one lot. Those robots read that stuff. Okay. All trading to some extent is manipulation. I mean, I suppose you can't say that it's manipulation in the fact that like there's something illegal or immoral about what you're doing. Okay, but every time that you make a trade, you affect the instrument that you're trading. And so you can't sit down and say, well, you're not a bad trader, the market was manipulated, because part of being a good trader is understanding how the moves that are being made in the market are being made and being able to predict it happening. And if it's manipulated, that just means that you fell for it, right? That means that, yeah, actually you are a bad trader, especially, if you're in Bitcoin. I mean, come on, that one was so obvious. If it's manipulated and you know that they're going to manipulate it a certain direction, why aren't you getting along? Unless you know that it doesn't matter which way you go, they're going to try and stop you out. And then why would you even get in? So, yeah, this meme fails. I see a lot of dumb stuff in this group, to be honest. But I digress.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, you're a bad trader for trading cryptos to begin with, haha.
Well, I'm not gonna say that if you ever bought Bitcoin that you were a bad trader. Okay, I bought Bitcoin, and I made some pretty good money off of it. Made some pretty good money off of it, actually. So, um, it's, but I knew where it was and I got out. you know.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, I kid.
Yeah. But if you're still trading them, I mean, if you're still day trading them, brings me to another point that I've been thinking about a lot lately for some reason. Maybe it's just because of where treasuries
YouTube,
are.
Uzi Knesset, but I wouldn't touch that shit, lol.
There's been so much discussion lately about why do most traders fail? And it seems to me, just from my own experience, like, why do I do well and why do I not do well in certain periods? Because I remember when I just started, man, it was so hard. There were so many days where I was just trying to go for a 4 ticker and they wouldn't even give me 4 ticks, right? And it was like that not even that long ago, to be honest. And it felt like I would just lose over and over and over again. It's like was doing well, and then as soon as I felt confident
YouTube,
to do something,
Lucas, morning, old peeps.
Good morning, Lucas. And then it seemed like when I was ready to actually put risk on the table, is like everything changed and you couldn't get anything.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, morning grinning face with big eyes.
So now this time, it's like I'm doing well. By the way, it's giving me a flip, but it's giving me a flip on the top side, so they might go lower. I'm not. He's trying to push it out. Let me come back to that thought here. Let me explain what I think is going on. They came down. They're ranging around in this area. We've come up to the top, and somebody's trying to push it. So somebody is clearly trying to get a reversal to start. But every time that you have to push it, there's a chance that they go zoop and then they peter out and go back down. So I don't think that the fact that they're trying to push it here on the top side is necessarily a good sign for bulls. It could come up. But the key I'm getting here is that just for them to get a bounce, they had to start shoving it. Okay, so anyways, if we look at the most recent action and how I've been behaving in the most recent
Lucas,
action.
The action we are seeing these couple past months is conducive to hold if you are on the right side and Taj nice chunks of profits. And you like to hold trades, which is good for this emo.
Yeah. It's like I do well despite my own best self-sabotage. How many times have I gone in and like I've taken a trade and it didn't work and it didn't work and it didn't work and then I took it and it runs and I take it with like multiple contracts, almost like revenge trading.
Uzi Knesset, big seller in ZB, moved from 63.08 to 63.00, oop, now up to 63.02.
That 398 is that big? So what's the difference? Did something change in me? I don't know if I'm that different. Well, my trading strategy did change over the summer, but I'm still doing a lot of the same stuff. Was it me that changed? I think that the market changed. It seems to me that when money is coming into the market, that I tend to do well, and when market is coming out of the market, it's really, really hard.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, relatively big lol. His willingness to move adds a bit of context.
Yes. I think that this is probably the biggest tip that I can possibly give a new trader. Why do most traders fail? Because the market isn't conducive to trading. Most of the time. If you want to do well at trading, you need to trade in a favorable market. That simple. That simple, right? Trade in a market where money is coming into that market. Right now, money is coming into treasuries, and so it's almost like easy to make money. Like that trade yesterday.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, most traders fail because they quit.
Well,
Winking face.
that's probably also true, but maybe they are saving themselves a bit of grief, you know? Because even then, I mean,
YouTube, Lucas Ty biggest tip, forget trading.
forget trading. Yeah, you know the thing is that even if you stick with it, the majority of people aren't going to make money. The majority of people aren't going to make money. That's just the way it is. Hold on a second. I need to close this vent. I need to fix my thermostat.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, man, if there's one big thing I learned, it's balls. If you ain't got 'em, you'll never get out of the rut. You'll get stuck with your nose just above water.
You know, let me finish that first thought, and then you just gave me a second thought, right? Well, I guess I kind of did finish that first thought, right? Money is coming into treasury markets right now. It's easy to make money. You know what? Treasuries are if you're going to specialize in something, treasuries are a great market to
YouTube,
specialize
Lucas,
in.
yeah, I agree, Seth. I think that's due to the fact that those who don't quit keep jumping from one strat to the next one, thus mastering none.
Yeah. So I mean that's kind of the play though, is you have to sit down and say, I'm gonna get good at that one thing, but that one thing at some point has to be the thing where money is going to in order for me to do well. And the argument for treasuries is that it's the most liquid instrument in the world for a reason. It's very economically sensitive, and so sooner or later, or well, not sooner or later, but several times a year, you're going to get situations where money is coming into the treasury markets, and you can take advantage of that. And then it's easier to make money. Probably the biggest problem that traders have is that they trade the wrong instrument. Like they want to trade stocks, and they'll trade individual stocks. And it's like, when is money coming into individual stocks? The majority of stocks lose money in the long term. When you look at all stocks, not just the ones in the S&P 500, most stocks lose money. So they're not necessarily places where money is coming into. And so then you have to like do the watch lists, and you're chasing the money, and you're constantly chasing. As opposed to in treasuries, you just get good at the treasury, and then you wait for them to come to you, and eventually they will. And you've just got to know, when is the money coming in and when is it coming out. That's the biggest tip that I could give people. That's the biggest tip. If money is coming into a market, everybody's a genius in that market. It seems like it's so easy for day traders to make money at that point. And if day traders only traded when the market was favorable to them, that it would be more like 70% of traders would be successful. And that's possible because the hedgers, the people that come into the market to hedge, a lot of them expect to lose money in some cases, but they have to hedge themselves. That's what it's all about. Okay, so that was that thought. Sir, I will click your link. It's a YouTube link. What do we got here? It's some song. Sorry, not our thing. Okay. So here was the other thought. Uzi was saying, if there's one thing I've learned, it's balls. Yeah, so that was another thing that I was thinking about was people have asked, why would you stream and put yourself out there? It always bothers me. People don't want to show their results. Yes, I understood you, dessert, but we're not interested in music. I'm sorry. Why are people so ashamed to show their results? Like, there might be bad trades in there. Look, guys, everybody makes bad trades. That's you. You don't necessarily need to be ashamed of it. Everybody makes mistakes. That's just was the reality. I don't think that you need to be ashamed of reality. And when you look at it from that perspective, I think the truth is that the reason that most people don't want to show their results and don't want to talk about their performance, that's why you're not going to be successful. Because in order to be good at this, you kind of have to accept yourself and where you're at, and you have to accept that you don't have control over it. You don't have control over with the way that this thing moves. The best thing that you can do is trade your strategy, and sometimes that means you have to have balls. But that's just you've got to trade your strategy, and you have to be confident in that you've done the work to know when it's appropriate to trade and when it's not, and that over time it'll work, because you can't guarantee any one individual trade will work. I mean, I guess if you have a YouTube channel, you kind of have to. Not really. I mean, that's the thing, is that I could re-record my session. I could do what everybody else does, right? I don't know if there's anybody else that's doing it like live and shows you everything. I haven't found it, at least. I could do what everybody else does and just kind of only show you the best trades. you know, could have skipped those first two trades yesterday and only shown you guys the one that made 12 ticks. And then, hey, I'm a genius. Get tens of thousands of subscribers. No. It's kind of, when you look at you want to be where the money's coming into the market. It's true. But it's also kind of counterintuitive, because you don't want to be in the market where everybody else is. you know, if you're in the market that everybody else is in, then you're in the market that everybody is going to be taking money out of, and eventually you're going to be in the market that's
YouTube
losing
Lucas,
money.
is this guy Harker supposed to cause chop?
I anytime that an FOMC member is speaking, you could have choppy, difficult action, but he doesn't speak until like 8:50. I think that they're mostly trying to trade off of this ADP non-farm employment change. I think that what happened was somebody had a long, they didn't get very much out of it and dumped. So it came back, and then some people decided to buy it down there at 22, and they were able to push it back up here to the 25. They might make it back up to 26, and then maybe find some balance. But it was just like I said, they pushed here, right? They pushed here. It did push them up, but then they
YouTube
sat at
Uzi
22 and a
Knesset
half.
online. I've always been into sharing thoughts, price levels, and my decision-making process. Sure. My P&L though is my business though, and my wife's. Can't hide it from her, haha.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to.
YouTube Lucas face with tears of joy.
The thing is you don't want to get into the other side of it, and this is something that I think that Uzi has always done very well. Is he's not in it for him, or rather, like, he's not sharing this information with us to glorify himself. Otherwise you want to post your results all the time and brag about it so much, and then that's a liability too, right? Because then you're going to become dependent on having those results, and you're going to chase after those results because you think that your worth is based on what other people think of you, and what other people think of you is based on how much money you are making. Ergo, if you don't make any money, then you're not going to have worth
Lucas,
in the eyes of other
I
people.
don't know if I'd be able to take grief for the bad trades like Seth does sometimes. I respect him just for that.
So there's definitely that, but the split side of it is that if we said
YouTube Uzi Knesset, like I've said before, when I started watching you, I was still learning futures. I still find stuff I miss and make changes. Always changing.
Yeah, because the market always changes, for sure. I like I've said a while ago, reality just doesn't fit into clean boxes. You know, I was always watching this in Neon Genesis Evangelion documentary response video sort of a thing yesterday. Oh my gosh, this guy. If you've never watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, it's worth a watch, but it's super geeky and it's like a very existential show. And the fandom gets a little crazy sometimes. And so this guy, he made an essay, and it's a really good essay, but it is literally an hour about this show. Literally an
YouTube,
hour,
Uzi Knesset, Weeb grinning squinting face.
right? Right? But he's one of the things he said in that he kind of reflected that when they were talking about existentialism is he was saying reality, the biggest burden that you have is freedom, that reality doesn't give you these nice organized boxes that tells you exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing. We all want that, but the truth is that reality doesn't give that. And my own value system says that reality doesn't give you that. Like, even though I believe in God and all of those things, um I don't believe that everything that you're supposed to do is necessarily laid out. You have your choice, and you get to make your decisions about what it is that you're going to do. You have to make your own purpose in this world. And it really made me think about the trading thing. It was like, think about how many orders go through these systems. It's insane. When I worked for Goldman Sachs, one of the things that they asked me to do was to do an analysis of the orders coming out of their system to try and determine how many orders the system, what was the maximum number of orders that the system ever had to handle at any one time, to try and predict for the next spike what will be the maximum number of orders at any one time that they'll have to deal with. And the data that I was dealing with, literally all it was just like, here was an order. They bought this instrument at this price at this time. And that was it. Okay. But they did so many orders in one day that I had to use a distributed file system to do the analysis. So I had to pull out Apache Spark and all these things, just gigs and gigs and gigs, more than I could hold on my computer of data for one day. And I couldn't necessarily tell you like the exact numbers, not that it would matter anymore, but it was in the billions of orders a day. Okay. That's how many orders go through these trading systems every day. And think about how many different places that they're going to, how many different stocks, how many different futures, the different prices that they're going through. Some are buying and some are selling. There are so many choices. You could never, even for one moment, even just this moment today, you could spend a lifetime.
YouTube, Lucas, the entirety of the problems humans go through with each other's economics, wars, politics, etc. has to do with humans' ability to understand reality and truth.
If you could just take this one moment in time.
YouTube, Lucas,
Late
sorry,
comment.
late comment, lol.
Late comment. No. You could just take this one moment in time, and you could spend a lifetime studying what is happening in the markets at this time. Why are all of these different traders making the choices that they're making at this moment right now? That there is that much activity in the markets, it's that big. Your array of options is that big. And you as a trader have to sit down and decide where is the place that I think I should put my money, where I believe that my money will be the most efficient and gain the most return. That's really what it all comes down to in the end. Really what it all comes down to in the end. And that's why I say the biggest piece of advice that I can give people is that if you're in a market that money is coming into, it's easier to make money. But you have to make those decisions for yourself. And if you're not willing to be honest with the world, about how you're doing and why you're going into a certain thing, you're never going to be able to do that effectively, right? You're always just going to be chasing after um, what somebody else wants. And when you do that, then you're just going to be following the crowd and you're always going to be late. Oh, sorry, you were talking about just what did they ask from you there? So one of the things that I did was they gave me a day's worth of logs and we're trying to determine what was the maximum number of orders in a second that had to go through the system. And I was just saying that with just equities, the amount of data was so large that we had to use a distributed file system to analyze it, even though there wasn't a ton of data for every order. But when you're talking about data of billions of entries, you're talking about gigabytes and gigabytes of data. And so you have to use a distributed file system to analyze it. Just trying to give you guys an idea of the scope of the kind of decision that you're trying to make. Good morning, Ace. Anyways, maybe a little bit too deep going there, but anyways, I really like that when he said, you know what, reality doesn't fit into neat little boxes. We want it to just, have one rule. Like technical, that's where I think technical analysis comes from, right? We want to have this one rule that we can follow that will always be true. But it just doesn't work that way. Reality doesn't fit into these boxes, and you have to watch your market and understand what your market is doing at that time and how it's changing, and then figure out how you can take advantage of that. So I'm going to be interested to see what Ace thinks here, because for my own analysis of the mini is a little mixed, and I don't know what to do about it. I often find myself in this position the day after a big move. I think in the long term, probably we make another move down. You don't get a trend day that big without a little bit of follow through. It's just, is it going to do it today? I'm not so sure. But yeah, this drives me nuts. Here's another thing that drives me nuts, because this was happening a lot on our video about technical analysis, is somebody will come in and they will say, okay, well, what you need to do is you need to look at X thing, and you watch X thing, and then you'll get an idea of what it is that you need to do. As though there is like the one thing that you can look at
YouTube,
that
Lucas,
will always
lol.
give you the edge.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, pretty quiet on the volume side. At least in ZB.
Yeah,
YouTube, Ace Trades, I think I missed a good short signal at 2,924.50.
There's an iceberg
YouTube,
there now,
Lucas, that and pancakes.
though.
YouTube, Lucas, or was it waffles?
There is, do you see the little bubble on my ES chart there? So they pushed it down and then there was a bubble. It's indicating that there was perhaps a large buyer there buying it off of that little dip that we just saw. Yeah, there's no, and here's another thing. I don't, obviously I'm like try to be open about why I'm taking the trades that I'm taking, but I don't want people to trade the same way that I do. Right? That's not just because I don't want the competition, but because I know it won't work. I know it won't work for you,
YouTube,
that is.
Ace Trades, at Lucas Waffles. No one around here likes pancakes, unless I make them look like Elsa.
So Ace, there's a dumb question, but it's I am not a fan.
YouTube, Lucas face with tears of joy.
I am not a fan of Frozen. So here's the thing. Elsa is the bad guy. Kids hate it when you tell them this. I told my little girls this. I'm like, okay, so who's the good guy? Who's the good guy in Frozen? Elsa. Wrong! Wrong. She's the bad guy, guys. She was queen. She left her kingdom high and dry, abdicated all responsibilities, created a huge snowstorm. She's the bad guy. We understand her. She redeems herself in the end. She learned she made a mistake. Okay, but she was doing bad things in that movie. And everybody holds her up like, "Oh, this Elsa's so great. I want to be like Elsa." No, do not be like Elsa, okay? The whole point of the movie was don't be like Elsa.
YouTube ace trades, lol, yup. She ran away and left them frozen, worse than Trump.
Worse than Trump. It is true. Oh man, so this gets me into something else. If I could quickly shift gears, because I was watching my Vietnam documentary last night again. I came home and I recorded another video, and it was so terrible. I might need to re-record it, but it was for Ninja Trader programming, and I went through it, and then I was done. I was like, well, that was like a little bit too simple, and I was like, I couldn't even get sentences out. Maybe I was just like super tired, so I was like, well, I don't think I should play Overwatch. I'm just gonna go and watch some TV. So I pulled up the Ken Burns documentary on Vietnam. And so the thing that they were talking about in Vietnam was Richard Nixon. And can you believe, I mean, I'm sure that most people know this at this point, but when this documentary was created, I don't think the public completely realized that this happened. But when Richard Nixon was running for the first time, he basically had contacts in what is the place called? It starts with an S. He had in South Vietnam. He had contacts, and he told the people in the government, "Hey, don't do peace talks," because they were talking about they were going to do peace talks, and he said, "No, don't do the peace talks because that will help my opponent, and he will win, and he won't drive as hard of a bargain as I will. So put the talks off until after the election." He literally told them to do this. Is it treason? I mean, I don't know if it's treason, but it's certainly very, very illegal. And they should have gone to jail for a very long time for doing that. Very awful thing that they did. This was Richard Nixon. Basically said, extend the war, don't do peace talks so that I can get elected. Can you believe that? They did that. And the crazy thing is that Lyndon B. Johnson, who was president at the time, knew. He knew because they had wiretaps on the South Vietnamese offices. Of course they did. But you're not supposed to have that. And so for them to be able to expose that Richard Nixon did this, the only way that they would be able to tell the public is by admitting that they were wiretapping the South Vietnamese, which would have been really bad. And so they just didn't do anything. And they just sat there and watched Richard Nixon get elected, knowing that he had done that. Can you believe? And of course, that's, I think, maybe part of why Watergate happened the way that it did, because the whole thing was him trying to prevent everybody from finding out what he had actually done, the nasty things he had done to get elected, essentially. And the Democrats knew that he had done this, and they were trying to expose it one way or another. And they eventually did, but he basically resigned before they completely found out everything. It's startling to me when you look at the American public's knowledge about history. Everybody knows so much about World War II. We love to talk about World War II, probably because that was a war that we won and we did well in. Everybody knows stuff about World War II. And they all think, well, this is just like World War II. Sorry, guys. The problems of World War II are not all that pertinent to what's going on today. It was a completely different situation. It was a situation that we might not have to face for a very, very long time. Maybe it will be pertinent to some of our future generations. But right now, we are not facing an armed conflict between two large Western nations. That's not what's going on. No. We know so much about World War II, and yet American youth today know almost nothing about Vietnam. And you think about what happened during Vietnam, that is super pertinent to what is happening today. Super pertinent, right? I think the reason that Democrats are so triggered by Donald Trump talking to Ukraine and saying, hey, you should investigate Joe Biden is because they think that it is like Richard Nixon telling the South Vietnamese to not do a peace deal. It's not. And when you put it in that comparison, I think that the thing that they're trying to impeach him over kind of starts to look a little ridiculous. To me, at least, it does. To me, at least, it does. But I did not know that about Nixon, right? Well, the thing was is that only not even like a year, 2 years ago, more information about this came out, and we found even worse things because when he was getting reelected, um, he was doing stuff in Cambodia too. Like he was, oh my gosh. And the thing is when you look at the, I just got along at 29, 21, 75. Hmm. Well, my I'm not getting my confirming signal. I am, well, I suppose I could, I think I'm going to take it there. If I can get filled here on the bid. I'm not getting my confirming signal, but I am seeing it as a lot of other things are good. So we'll take that and see what happens. He's not in yet, huh? Well, I would have to go through it, right? Anyways, you know, there's a lot of similarities between what is going on now and what happened in the, like, when you look at the way that the country, what is the word that I'm looking for? Like sentiment. The sentiment in the country was very similar, right? There was a lot of unrest. All of the liberals thought that there was about to be some huge revolution and that they were going to be the winners. That's what they thought. But also economically speaking, there's kind of some similarities too. If I try and compare the histories, Obama is like Lyndon B. Johnson, right? He was the far left liberal with a big agenda that kind of tried to say that he wasn't so liberal, but he was liberal, and almost everything that he did didn't work out. You're saying it failed, huh? Okay, interesting. I'm gonna see if I can get out at a better spot though. I'm okay with it if it just hits my stop. Uh, anyways, almost everything that Lyndon B. Johnson, well, he did have some social programs that endured, but there's a lot of similarities between him and Obama. And then because of the failures of Lyndon B. Johnson, and the way that the Democrat Party like basically completely imploded after that, that was what allowed Richard Nixon to get elected. And it's the same thing. That's the sort of dynamic that allowed Donald Trump to get elected. There's some similarities. So if we keep going, then does that mean that Donald Trump eventually, because of impeachment, they get him out of office somehow? I don't think that they'll actually impeach him, but maybe he loses an election and you get like an Elizabeth Warren, and that would be like what was his name? Jimmy Carter. Yeah, Carter. That would be like Carter, the completely incompetent one who's all, everything is just a complete disaster. And then we'll get Reagan, because people keep saying that Donald Trump is like Reagan. And I'm like, nah, I don't think he's like Reagan. Good morning, by the way, IQ. I don't know if I said hi. But if that's true, then who's Reagan? Because the only person on that that's like a conservative that I can even see possibly running for president in the future, aside from, the vice president, which is always, a given the run. The only other person that I see is Ted Cruz. And I'm like, is Ted Cruz a Reagan? I don't think so. Ted Cruz is probably more like Nixon in that respect. Like, so he's somebody that thinks he knows what he's doing. He's going to go in. He's going to be very pragmatic, and he's going to be pretty effective at what he does. But he's also not going to know what he doesn't know, and is going to make a lot of really big, huge mistakes. Because that's Nixon. They said, we're not going to go in and make the same mistakes in Vietnam that Lyndon B. Johnson made. We're going to make our own mistakes. And they did. They made their own mistakes. By that point, the Vietnam War was probably already a lost cause. So, oh well. Hmm. Okay. So I kind of see the Treasuries hinting that they want to go up there. I could maybe try getting out at this 29-2050. They're going to push back. There's 27, 26 half as the top. It really feels to me like ES is responding to ZN and not the other way around. What was with my chest popping there? That was kind of weird. Anyways, history is interesting. So that's my challenge to you. Go watch the Ken Burns documentary on Vietnam. It's on Netflix. Make your make your teenagers watch it, because I don't think that the youth knows enough about Vietnam. More recent history, more pertinent to the issues that we deal with today, and political history in terms of the presidents and the sentiment and you know the political issues that people are arguing over, more similar to what we're dealing with today. And I don't think that people realize the connection between them, that a lot of the things that Democrats are freaking out about are because of things that happened during the Vietnam War. They like to set up the same playbook. Democrats love to do the same thing over and over and over again. So they're like, well, in the past, we were able to remove a president because of foreign meddling in relation to elections. So it worked with Nixon, so we're going to do it again. Or we're going to try and manufacture it. I think that's kind of what they're doing. So there was a little bit of a move up. And now there's a big order at 29.2175 left behind from when we moved up and didn't trade through it. Treasury is still being a little finicky here, to be honest. So they're trading back up into 26 half again. I don't know. They're actually trading some decent numbers here around this 2920 area.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, there we go, there's some volume.
In the treasury? Well, there was something going on there. It seems like that they're trying to push it up again.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, ya ZB.
It's, with the way that I'm able to see now when they're trying to push the treasuries, I thought that that would have answered a lot of questions, but in reality it just kind of gives you more questions, right? So they're pushing it up. It seems like that they're having a hard time getting them to buy it back up. But somebody is pushing it. So why is he doing that?
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, let's see if it turns into something.
Does somebody know something? Or are they just long and like really desperate? You don't know what the motivation is behind it. They sure seem to be trying really hard though. I don't see look at like right here though, you know. The big guys are not really terribly engaged. Well, they were a little bit engaged when it came down. So probably they would prefer to buy. Now let's see if we can get TweetDeck again. Nope, it's still down. Boo. Hmm. Let's see here. Alligator says, so far undecided, no clear relationship, even outcome not obvious to me, although I'm biased risked off for this morning. It could simply retest and pull back in the end. In my opinion, there are more buyers after yesterday, shock, but they may not like those prices. On the other hand, it could sell from the top today and then bounce up at the end of the week. That's a really complicated set of scenarios. That's a little bit more deep than we tend to get. But I suppose that does fit in with the larger thing that we seem to be seeing, which is that they are buying it. They're buying it, but they're having a hard time pushing price. And not because there's huge icebergs in the way, but because they're just they're just not a lot of activity. Now it's kind of the same thing in the E-mini. They have come, look at it right here. There's been like a little jump and then it came back, and a little jump and it came back. So it's like somebody's pumping it and nobody's jumping on board. Trump is set to announce an executive order regarding the Medicare system titled Protecting Medicare from Socialist Destruction. Oh, there's my stop. No? There it is. Well, maybe we'll get a buy a little later on. Treasuries are buying here. Ooh, look at that. Although it'd be awfully difficult to be buying it at 28.5 for me. Now that it's starting to pick up, I'm too hesitant to do it. maybe that means that they're going to just run up there to the highs. There is a pretty big order at 8 evens, but that's evens, so I don't know if that's significant. There's a little bit of liquidity above us at 29.5, but some of it actually appears to be pulling. Some interesting stuff in the ZB. I don't know. Why is it that I would rather buy in the E-mini? Perhaps after this little sell from 29.28, maybe I don't want to sell it anymore. Or I mean, buy it anymore. Interesting. And then we're being led by the 30-year. That's another interesting point. Oh, Digital Shot took a big loser. I don't want to sell, but it feels like it should come off at some point, which made me reluctant to buy 22. Wrong decision. I guess I was only really wanting to be long. He ends up in ES down 20 handles, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And they sold back into 28, and it didn't take many contracts. And just based on the price movement alone, I want to buy it, but then I look at the level 2 activity and I say no. Should not be getting involved. I mistweeted it, guys. Make sure I have the TTS on.
YouTube Ace trades too close to open.
Yeah, that's a good point too. But well, like yesterday around this time, they actually started to perk up a little bit. If ES takes control, pullback could be funny.
YouTube Brian, why is this stuff measured to the 35?
Why is this stuff measured to the 35? Okay, so are you talking about the prices that you see on the DOM? If so, the way that we price treasuries is because a treasury is really like $100,000 treasury bill, right? That's what you're controlling. Actually, you're controlling $1 million worth of.
YouTube Greg Orlovsky, hi Ryan 1/2 of 1/32 ND.
Yes. So that's the simplest explanation. So look here at the ZB, okay? It's 1/32 of $100,000
YouTube Brian,
treasury, okay? Which is something like 31.25 or something like that, right? Is what it actually comes out to. But we go 0 to 31, and then when you get 31, you go back to 0, right? It's divided by 30 seconds. And then in the 10-year, so that we kind of have the same, the 10-year doesn't move as much, but so that we kind of have the same kind of adjustment, we just do it in halves. So instead of going from 1 to 64, we go from, well, we are going from 1 to 64, but we don't go to 64. We go 31, 31.5 even, right? And then we do the same thing in the 5-year, but we do it in quarters, right? This is 16, 16 quarters, 16 half, 16 and 3/4, 17. And then when you get up to 32 and 3/4, then you go back to 0. And that's how it's priced. Although the specific price of the, like when you look at oil and you say, oh, oil is $53.66 right now. Like that means that means something to our, our minds. Oh yeah, okay, I know how much a barrel of oil is and how much that costs, so that means something to us. In treasuries, it's much more amorphous. It's like, well, it's not really a. I mean, it's it's $1 million, but it's not really $1 million because it changes. The value of it changes because of the interest rate. How do you wrap your head around that? Well, you don't really have to. You just have to know the minimum amount that it can move is a tick and how much a tick is worth. A tick
YouTube
is worth
Brian,
$15.
interesting. I was trying to make a formula to make a 1/32 equals to 100 equals point zero one.
Yeah. See, if you try and convert it into decimals, it's kind of, you know, you end up with really long numbers. So it's better to just think of it in terms of ticks, right? A 4 tick move in the 10-year is about the amount that it typically moves in a 30-minute period. If you catch an 8 tick winner in the 10-year, that's pretty good. That's $125. And then so that's the way that we look at it. Well, and that's the other thing is that if you get a full point, so if we had bought it at 130 yesterday and sold it at 131, that's $1,000. So 1,000 divided by 64 is 15.625. And that's how much you make for a tick. But you don't even have to calculate that. If we take a position, I don't know if we're definitely not going to take one in the next 10 minutes. But if we took a position, then it would show here in the column how much money you make at if you get out at each spot. So that you don't have to calculate it in your head. Well, the E-mini did finally get a small little pivot. Oh, do we need to roll forward the Bitcoin futures? I'm just noticing that. Database management. Roll over. There we go. Aha. Much better. They did have a little bit of a move, but it's still kind of like, eh. Kind of mad that our long didn't work out in the E-mini because
YouTube
now that
Greg
we've got that
Orlovsky
buy.
S2920.00 was a swing from 2 hour ago.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, way early in the session. I don't know. I'm sitting here like, oh, we could have gotten a winner. That sucks. In fact, we're now above where we bought. But I don't want to buy it 5 minutes ago. So Trump offers congratulations as China's Communist Party flexes military muscle. Pillsbury said president's tweet consistent with broader strategies stand
YouTube
up to
Greg
messaging on
Orlovsky just really
strategic
anxious
issues
today. SOH for a while.
while maintaining decent personal relationship with Xi. Yeah. I'm starting to feel really what is the word? Really skeptical that a trade deal is going to happen. Just really anxious today, SOH for a while. It is giving us another event. So that one's probably the pre E-mini open event. Let's come in and load all of our levels. Oh, why that was the yearly high at one point. That's funny. Before we blew through it. That was way early in the year. I remember when I put that in there. Okay. Is it just maybe it's my web browser? They're buying it. Oh, so you're while we're just being bored last night. So my wife is on a trip. Well, she's a flight attendant and she's doing a 3 day work trip, and so I'm all by myself. And man, I don't know how I did it when I was when I got divorced and I was single and I was all alone in the house, because it really sucks being here. Nobody else is here, because you know that if you hear something in the house, there it's not supposed to be there. You would think, right? But then there's the problem is that I have like this rabbit, and rabbits are kind of move around a lot at night, and so I'm hearing every tiny little thing, waking up. Oh my gosh! Oh, it was just the rabbit, right? But then I have this toilet. I've tried everything I can to fix it. I don't know what I got to do, but it's got like a leak or something, and so it's always kind of like dribbling. And I can always hear it, and I can hear it through the walls now. You guys probably can't hear it, but I can hear it through the walls, and it's driving me crazy. That's interesting that they
YouTube
sold
Ace
down there.
Trades, did you forget you have children? Or do you make her take them with her on the flight?
No, no, no.
Lol.
Their birth dad gets them, right? She goes on a trip, and then you know, dad's turn for the custody. So I'm by myself. I get them come back up there. Kind of curious move there around the E-mini with the treasuries. They certainly are sensitive to what the E-mini is going to do, isn't it? Now, there was a lot of buying going into this, and now it's just like every other day. The initial impulse is a sell. Yeah. It also makes me think about like, because I have to make sure everything's taken care of and fixed, and I'm like, why do I have all this stuff? Why do I have a rabbit?
YouTube Ace Trades, does he get them to school? I picture him drunk all the time, throwing beer cans at the kids.
No, 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 no. No, no, that is completely not. Well, apparently, from what I hear, he does drink
YouTube
pretty
Ace
regularly.
Trades empty cans because he isn't that bad.
I don't think that he gets. I don't think that he gets like drunk. They just drink a lot, apparently. So he's that's it's kind of a weird. It's a really weird thing. All right. Here's the thing. I don't really know him all that well, and I don't particularly care to. From my perspective, even though it seems kind of cold and everything, from my perspective, I think it's probably better, both for myself and for everybody else, that I don't really know him all that well. I'm just because it won't bias me on any kind of decisions that we have to make and stuff. And so, but you keep in mind he is a pilot, and my wife, she went into being a flight attendant because he was getting his pilot's license. That's how she ended up being a flight attendant. And he would basically, while he was on his flight trips, he was basically cheating on her with men. So, and that happened for like 10 years. And then she finally, when she found out, that's when she divorced him. And so, and they were, they're LDS. He was LDS. And then when he was finally outed, I guess, you know, he stopped being LDS.
YouTube, Uzi
Yeah.
Knesset. Oh wow, lol.
And so when for those of you not from Utah, not familiar with this, it's quite common when you have people that are Mormons and that they've lived such strict
YouTube,
lives.
Uzi Knesset. Seth is dropping spaghetti, lol.
They've lived such strict lives. They've never drank. They've never had premarital sex. They've never done any of these things, and all of their self control has been rooted in this value
YouTube,
system
Ace
that they
Trace.
have.
Yeah, hard to stay in a church that hates you.
Yeah, sure. Then when they leave, it's quite common for them to just go on a complete bender, go way overboard with the drinking and the partying and all of those sorts of things.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky. Seth, edit that stuff out of the video when posting, just a friendly reminder.
Now, I'm not saying that that's what he did, but he certainly did start drinking, and the kids tell me about it. But it doesn't sound like that he's gone overboard or that it's been a problem. It's not like he's getting drunk or beating everybody. And like I said, as far as I can tell, he seems like he's a decent guy. That I don't know why he made the decisions that he did, but obviously I disagree with those parts. But I have nothing against him or anything. I don't think I need to edit anything out because I didn't say anything bad. But yeah, but so if you wanted to get a negative picture of the ex in your head, just because you think that that's fun or something, that would be kind of the picture, right? Or you could see where you could take that, is I guess what I'm saying. So what I said was not negative. It's the reality. I think it's fine, but you can certainly generate a negative stereotype off of that if you wanted to. The fact that I'm trying to explain that probably means that I probably made a mistake in there somewhere, but I'm not sure where. They're still okay. So they bought it up and now they're selling it, and they're selling it pretty hard. Do you think it's wise to look for long anymore? I'm not so sure about that. In fact, I'm really thinking about buying the Treasury right here at the top of the profile. As foolish as that seems at the moment. Dropping spaghetti. What? Now, the cool thing about it, I tell you what, listen, if you're going to get divorced, being in the airline industry is actually a pretty good setup for being divorced. Maybe that's why maybe that's why divorce rates in the airline
YouTube,
industry
Brian.
are a little
So
higher.
ZN risk on is what to dollar and risk off is what? YouTube, Brian. I can't remember.
So ZN goes up when it's risk off. So what do we mean by risk off? It means people are defensive.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset. Dropping spaghetti. Spilling the tea, lol.
So at the moment, people are defensive. They're concerned that they're going to lose their money in their equities, and so they are selling their equities and buying treasuries. Although it doesn't quite match up, does it? They're selling the equities pretty hard, but the treasuries are just still kind of ranging here, which could be an indication that the selling in the E-mini is a little overdone. But let's just let it turn a few times and see where that puts us. So those first 15 minutes can be really volatile, and it's really hard to make too many conclusions from it while it's happening, right? See, the Treasury is actually trading down as though they think that the E-mini is going to turn. In fact, if aces were to get along here, I think I would maybe actually take it now. No, I take that back. I'm not getting enough of a... Actually, the level 2 activity in the E-mini is actually a little bit low as well. So, seems to suggest that the large institutions are still not super interested in moving it.
YouTube, Ryan, I like to take a side by side of currency and ZN and see its correlation.
Well, so I have, over here on this screen, I have one chart with a bunch of different currencies in it. You notice that the 6J and the Treasury tends to be very correlated. Today, though, they're kind of a little bit random, I think. A little bit random. Which just coincides with everything else we're seeing. Digital Shot is taking a short.
YouTube, Ryan, I like looking at your USD.
Yeah. The euro is a great product to watch. Okay, now they are getting a little uppity. The noise in my headphones from the cell phone. The CIA's listening to me again. It's like, why can't you guys just tune into the stream like everybody else? Huh? You listening to me, Mr. I know there's got to be a guy there, the CIA. They're like, this Seth person, he seems a little too patriotic. Maybe he's hiding something. We better listen in on him. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. I feel like we don't have any privacy these days anyways, and so even though my rights are being violated and I'm extremely offended,
YouTube,
it's going to
Ryan, a
happen.
currency pair could be said to have more data than a single treasury.
Yeah. But like, you don't have to spy in on my phone. You can just tune into the stream and hear what I'm saying like everybody else. That's what I... So a currency pair could be said to have more data than a single currency. I'm not... Here's the thing. When we look at the instrument, you got to remember, when you look at the instrument itself, the...
YouTube, Lucas, hard to fade. YouTube, Ace Trades, reminder to our friends at the FBI, CIA and NSA listening in, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Exactly.
Hit that bell, you lazy feds.
Exactly. I would appreciate it. Listen, if you're gonna spy on me, the least that you could do is help my channel out and give up the video a like so that it does better in the YouTube algorithm. And by the way, if you haven't watched my takedown of technical analysis, it wasn't really a takedown. I'm actually not nearly as negative on technical analysis as I could have been in that video. But if you haven't watched that video, go ahead, give that one a watch, and leave a comment. Well, what you think about technical analysis. Anyways, so what was I going to say to Ryan? Oh yeah, Ryan. So the amount of like actual data that I get about what is going on in a future is more than what you get to see about a currency. So in a currency, they don't even show you volume, right? Here I can see like the whole book. So, but in terms of, I suppose you could say accurate to say that it's more data because there's a lot more going on over there in a treasury because banks are constantly making these trades and stuff. There's a lot of money going through Forex. Well, I'd love to buy, but I feel like that now at this point I'm just too late to the party.
YouTube Brian, the volume is there, the measurement is harder to describe or realize.
No, no, I mean there is volume does exist. In fact, some forex brokers do show you some equivalent of volume, but it's not the same thing. Like I can't see that there was a specific price that tons traded at. But it's kind of like it's not the same kind of a market, right? It's not necessarily all traded on an exchange and all that sort of stuff. A lot of it is over the counter, and at least that's my understanding. I don't know nearly as much about forex, of course, but I personally would not recommend trading forex. But I have a
YouTube
video on
Brian,
that
if
too.
visualized a certain way, it would look similar to you.
Oh snap! Looky, looky, looky. Should we take one? I'm a little skeptical about that, but he is saying, like, let's get her done. Look, he actually moved that order up. I'm a little hesitant here.
Block sell.
I did the right thing.
YouTube Brian, but what about that IM balance on the other side at 15,000?
What about that I am balance at the other side? I'm not quite sure what you mean. So what we just saw there, a very large collision at the high. Very difficult for me to know what happens next.
YouTube Brian, a large imbalance at 30,290 at 17,298.
Oh, okay. Well, so this 17,795 that I have there right now, I mean, that's the total volume
YouTube
that's traded
Lucas,
there.
is the Fed guy messing with us?
That's a total volume. These ones on the inside are the buys and sells on market. So what happened was we came up to the high. Okay. There was a big bid at 29. There wasn't a lot of buying at 29.5, but he did buy it and moved his order up. And then when he moved his order up, somebody came and sold all of it.
YouTube Brian, so the total contains positions that are already there from long ago?
Yeah, I mean it's all volume that is traded at that price through the whole session. It's just a volume profile, right? And this blue column are bids, offers, and then the middle are market orders hitting into them. And if we come up and then come back down, that resets so that you can see how much it took to lift it. And that allows you to track individual positions, right? So the individual
YouTube
position
Lucas,
that we want to
was that a
see.
stop and run?
I don't know what it was. It was definitely a big guy, two big guys there, right? Like the thing that was interesting about that was it's not uncommon to see a huge order. It hasn't been happening a ton until like the past week, but now it's happening almost every day. Okay, big 5K order, and they put it there. Now, what if they hit it? Sometimes what you'll see, they hit into it, and the guy completely pulls. Well, that time, they hit it, and 5,000
Less
contracts
than at
traded.
201 quadrillion 689 trillion 47 billion 58 million 350,080 greater than you have volume for CME currency futures.
Who was that? That was bromide. You have volume for CME currency futures. Well, yeah, that's true. But that's different. It's not the whole thing. It's still a derivative, right? I should fix that because it puts in that number whenever they say something at me. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So the gist of it was there was a big order there. Somebody sold it. So now the question is, did that guy actually want to be long there? That's the question. He needs to learn to read prices. Now, why is it not reading out Lucas there? What the heck? Oh, it has. There it is. Now it
YouTube
will read it.
Lucas the robot needs to learn to read Price's face with tears of joy. YouTube Brian lol.
Right. Okay, so let's just here. This was the previous high. Just remember, it was at 29.5, right?
YouTube Brian, why are you going to open positions and not want to be in them?
Well,
YouTube Lucas,
okay,
she didn't like my comment maybe.
yeah, good question, Ryan. I think I'm missing a little part here. Okay, so what could happen?
YouTube Uzi Knesset, grinning face with crooked meth teeth and tears of joy.
Guys, stop for a second. Stop for a second. We gotta explain something important. We gotta explain something important. Let me view this for a second. Okay. Sometimes you'll put a big order there at like 5K, and you put that because you want people to think that you're like desperately trying to buy it, and you're trying to force the instrument up, and then but you don't actually want to buy. You're just trying to scare people. Okay. So it's not uncommon to see like a 5K order be put there. And then you only see like a few orders trade into it, like maybe a dozen orders sell into it. And then it completely pulls. And then you go, oh, haha, it was fake. Right. And when it's fake, then when it's like, well, if we were moving up because of that order and then that order was fake, and so it's not uncommon, like we saw yesterday, they go through it and you get a little bit of a move down. Do they get fees for placing that or not more than any other fee, right? They just pay the exchange fees because they're going to be a member and everything like that. Okay. I'm a member of the exchange, so you can go to the CME and you can look at what the fees are right now. But anyways, so you can end up with a situation where a guy takes he swallows a 5K order that he didn't actually want. That can happen, but we don't actually know. I would have to say, if you bought 5K up there, and you didn't actually want it, you would be super upset right now, right? But I haven't really seen him puke. So there's that. But we're kind of in another spot because the other thing that you have to consider is that there was a block sell, right? Can you see it right here? At 130, 29.5, 3,207 lots sold 29.5. So they sold like 2,000 of it first, and then the other 3,000 traded and swallowed it. Probably means that the guy that bought it did want to buy it. But there's two sides to that now, right? So that's what makes that kind of a situation difficult to read because you have two big guys on both sides of the trade. Why did he put that order there? Why was that guy so willing to sell it? Two people that appear to be very big and appear to have some conviction. Okay, well, I am finally getting something. I think that I'm supposed to buy it here. So we'll see. Well, so far the price that I got in at appears to be fairly balanced. So I don't like it when it, goes bid and offer on me a bunch. You also don't want to necessarily see the bid being pull up like that, but that could be a lure. I'm seeing they seem to be trading up because the E-mini is pushing. Oh, E-mini just pushed into the low, didn't it? Okay. It's, even though it did well, wow. I was going to say, even though the E-mini pushed a new low, it looks like they're distributing there quite a bit. But then it pushes down really quickly. That's something else. Some aggressive sellers there. Look, and then they pushed it down another step. But the treasuries aren't reacting to it. The 5-year is like pulling at 18.5, and people aren't buying it yet. There's a little bit of disjoint here between the way that the level twos are in the different instruments. Okay, they finally take 18.5, and a click on the downtick. That's not. The E-mini's still going. But can they really go much further? Well, they're close to that 2,900. You would think that they would at least want to try and get that. Okay, 18.5 goes bid again. 18.5 goes bid again, and they're even starting to hit into 18.75. But the 10-year is not. It did not tick up, and the 30-year is not gone. Okay, so there's the 30-year goes. Huh. Okay. So they still seem to care more about the 30-year. E-mini is just so ugly right now. That is ugly price action, guys. Like, it's trading a lot of contracts, but it just keeps kind of slipping. $29.03. I don't know. Like I said, that 2,900 is going to be a key psychological level that they're going to mess with. Well, look at that. The Treasury just ticked down there. So that is not typically how I would expect that to move. That might have been a false breakout, though. I'm hearing a lot of clicks now. That's kind of weird, too. Is the 30-year going to push up now? That move certainly makes me feel nervous, though. Look at them. With the ease that they're able to push it down is a little scary. In ES, that is. Okay, now they're actually putting some good liquidity at 27. They're still not holding a lot at 27.5 though. That's a little better. That's a lot better. Ooh. Okay. So they took 28, but there was an iceberg there. They're certainly reacting to almost every little up and down in the E-mini right now. That's not necessarily good for our trade because our edge is going to be based more on positions in the 10-year. And the reason that we took it was because of positions in the 10-year. And if we're at the mercy of the E-mini, how am I to know if they're going to go for another new low or how low they will actually go in the ES? You are seeing um, some of that volume that was from the big collision earlier at the top is now starting to readjust now. So it kind of seems like that the guys that sold it up there are buying it back. Look at that. Hmm. It doesn't show up there. Does it show up here? It does. I was looking to see if there was liquidity holding it up there in the Vista chart. There is in the 30-year. They're just being a lot of difficult still. Hmm. Okay, so that time they're trading into the low. Didn't. Oh, okay. There they go. It's just kind of slipping, but it's tiny bit, and then you can see here in the treasuries, do they really move? No, no, they don't. And the 10-year in particular appears extremely constrained, perhaps because of the large order that we had earlier. How come I didn't see? Oh, I turned off the auto read. That's why. 2904 might be a good pullback price, is what Ace is saying. To sell it from? I don't know. They fight here a lot, though. Well, okay, that's interesting. They are willing to defend 26.5, though. Ask 28, ask 29. Curious. Hmm.
YouTube Ace trades short 2904.25 but can't watch it close.
That was a good short, dude. I mean, you already got your 2 points, right? But it was fast.
YouTube Ace trades set 1 point stop and walks away. YouTube
Good job.
Lucas nice.
Good job. Can we finally get this one to go for us? I haven't had a trade fight me like this for a long time. Well, there was a little bit of drama there as they breached 2,900, wasn't there? But they're still able to make the 27.5 go offer. What the heck? Okay, I'm still seeing a lot of asks being moved around. Hmm. And that downtick was a little weird. Well, guys, I think at the very least I'm in the wrong spot. Because they're ranging here between 27.5 and 26.5. Well, they finally had a bid change. That was a large order on the bid move, but it was like way far away. Yeah, this is kind of annoying. There might be buyers building their positions between 26, 28 before the push if it happens. They're pushing it down is what they're doing.
YouTube, Lucas, honestly it's a hard spot. It might go down to 255 and turn and go higher, so probably can't legitimately know the trade it's bad until it hits 245.
Well, I mean, I took a spot. I took a signal that was okay. All right, that's fine. Happens, happens. Somebody really wants to push it down. So I had been for a while there, I would kind of been like, I really don't think that this is working out for me because like I only got one favorable tick. But I kind of get that like deer in the headlights thing where I don't know how to, um, get out of it. Because it keeps looking like it could do something. It keeps looking like the trade was valid. It was only until that push down there that it was invalid. When I started to see it push there, maybe I should have gotten out.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, oof, I dusted along in ZB for one tick 01 to 02. Thank the Lordy Lord for that.
Good job. It's a little frustrating that we did get the move that we wanted in the end, but we didn't do any of what we wanted in the 10-year. The thing, though, is that there's quite a delta divergence here. The buyers could still win the war. In the end, though, when you look at where I got in at and everything like that, where was it? 27.5. So it was right around here. I mean, I had a little bit to support it, but it ended up being pretty small deal in the bigger picture. So I ended up just kind of catching a lot of chop from it. Just looking at the way that it's kind of the level two is and everything, I'm not so sure that I really want to, if we're going to get another trade or not. Well, the 30-year, the 5-year is kind of suggesting that they moved down too much. How far could this go? Well, the lowest that we saw was 22, huh? Look at that. Look at the bids stacking now. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have held my bid at 25, but they seem to be acting urgent. Okay. Man, the 30-year there just looks like standing still, almost completely silent. Okay. Well, it looks a little bit better in the 30-year now, in terms of the level two at least. There's still more activity on the ask than there is the bid. for the big orders. That is the bid that it's all in the 30. Look at that. So there's all these big ones in the 30. There's these offers in the 10. So there's some spreading going on here. We getting flattening at all? It's hard to say. Okay. So you're getting good stacks, but then it doesn't tick up. Hmm. Hmm. That was funny. The tick up at 26 was like a real dribble, but then the tick up at 26 half was kind of aggressive. Hmm. But see what when they take a price, there's not like a huge. It's not like they're sitting there like they're really adamant about holding it. ES kind of looks like it's in a decision area. They're kind of turning like they want to push back down, but they're not sure. Well, there was
YouTube
an okay
Lucas, did
uptick.
Smash the Bid stop by recently? We could use some gold nuggets of wisdom now.
Right. I haven't seen him in a long time. We saw Suiso yesterday. Um, didn't quite understand what he was saying, what he was trying to say though. Always so cryptic. Hmm. Maybe you just have to invoke their name because I think that a lot of those guys do watch, but they just don't always chat, you know? It's really interesting to me here how much it takes to get a new bar because we've been here in this spot for a while and we were in this spot for a while. but it doesn't move. Okay, so there was a significant pull there at 27. And at 27.5, I see about 1,000 pulled there as well. Hmm. A little bit of liquidity just showed up down at 2902.75 in the E-mini. Now 27 goes offer again. Okay, uptick. E-mini's starting to get a little selly now. Selly, what a freaking word. Hmm. They're throttling a little bit on the bids now. Between 1,000 and 1,500. Oh, but now he pulls it off. Come on. They must be doing it because of the E-mini pushing. Still some big orders above us in the 5-year. Like that 18.5, that was that spot before. We've had some good upticks though. I don't know. You notice when we're starting to tick up, you hear the clicks. But it's only when it's accompanied by down movement in the E-mini. 18.5 didn't take. So you see these numbers at 27? There's some sort of a sell program there. Ooh, that was a strong take. I'm gonna watch that order at 28.5. Oh, it pulled. You see it? It was 25 and now it's 16. When you take that one out of the picture, the market liquidity starts to look pretty awful, doesn't it? Okay, so here's the E-mini is approaching this order. Treasuries all hot and bothered. Feels intense. The fact that nobody in chat is saying anything makes it even more intense. So don't say anything. I'm not trying to shame you into talking. Don't say anything. Just focus. See what they do. 18 3/4. The 5-year. 163 in the 30. Okay. I'm just going to move this just for the heck of it, but I think that we might still take 29.5 if it gets there. Okay. I see a pretty ugly setup here in the cumulative delta. If they decide to go for the highs of the day, it could be pretty spectacular. Because there's still, a couple thousand contracts short from there. So they definitely have enough stops to make a new high. If they so choose. And that's kind of the big question. Okay. Well, E-mini went straight through that big order. Now they're going to take a look at the low. I do see a little bit of increased activity in the level 2, but not pushing per se. Hmm. I'm trying to remain patient here, but it's really hard. I want to take what I got and run, but it's telling me to hold it.
YouTube, Lucas, good trade, Seth.
Yeah, thank you. That was a tough trade, right? That was one of the hardest trades I've done in a long while. But let's not congratulate
YouTube, Lucas,
ourselves.
patience pays off big.
Yeah. Let's not congratulate ourselves until we get a profit on it, huh? Till we exit the trade. So what I see at the moment is the E-mini came down. They're eyeing a new low. They're not immediately going through it for it. There's probably going to be a lot of traders thinking, oh, higher low, we can buy the pullback. The cumulative delta doesn't necessarily tell us if it's going to or not, but the treasuries aren't. Well, actually, is it going to start pushing here now?
YouTube, Lucas, it's funny cuz all we are doing is just sitting and waiting when being this patient feels like hard work face with tears of joy.
It does. Well, it's emotionally it's hard work, right? Sitting there and having it go against you and for you and kind of being a little flaky and some of the really good trades that we've made recently, there's an okay uptick. Some of the really good trades that we've made recently, they just go. But this one has kind of fought me every step of the way. I just need more size. If I was a two lot, then they would be like, oh no, we better get out of the way. This guy means business. And so, mm, so that definitely qualifies as an event now. It appears that it's an event trying to push it out the top, though. And like I said, we kind of have this set up here where if this fails, things people could be a little upset. So I think it's still worth watching.
YouTube, Lucas, I
Look
tried
at
to
that.
explain to someone who doesn't trade how much work it takes to make money but they wouldn't understand. For them it's like, dude, you are just sitting there.
Right. Okay, so they pushed it, and the E-mini pushed a new low. They're not. Oh, okay. Yes, I guess they are going to. Okay, so 30. That is a new high, isn't it? No, it's equal. It's equal to a new high. Come on, show me some stops. Come on, just hit it. Well, they're not doing level break setups here at the high, which is kind of interesting. But maybe that's because the level break would have to be at
YouTube,
131
Lucas,
even.
131,000.
Yeah, 131 even. There's a lot of contracts sitting there, but that's pretty typical. You're going to see more liquidity at the evens always.
YouTube, Lucas, possible fade at 131,010.
Okay. So probably they're going to have to come up to here and then maybe they would start doing level breaks. For now though, it's just kind of trickling up. They're not doing any like I'm not seeing strong sells into 30 half and a big iceberg holding it or any of that kind of stuff. Not actually really seeing very many big icebergs anywhere. Oh, look at the E-mini go. Even though it's good for me, whenever I see a move like that in the E-mini, it kind of makes my heart drop a little bit. Because I know that it's not good for the economy. Come on.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, homeboy at '08 in ZB is banking on a stop run.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Right? You can see the setup is here. Like, I think I should take it if I get that price. But you can see that the setup is that they could just blow through that 131 even in the 10-year. Okay, now I'm seeing some level break activity in the ZB. Some bits stacking up at 29.5. E-mini slipping again. Some profit taking, 31. You're almost there. You can do it. I believe. I'm just cheerleading. That's not good. The thing is, well, okay. The delta came off. The delta did come off. We should not ignore that. Somebody's definitely taking profits there at 31, if not outright selling it. Okay. Wow. So 400 stops into 31.5. But it goes off her again pretty quickly. Okay. So I'm thinking, well, it's past my time. It's time for me to get going. And they are doing a little bit of. So I think I'm going to play it safe and try and get out here. Really probably should have been taking that iceberg at 31, in all honesty. Oh, come on. No orders going in. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah. Ah. Okay, fine. Thank you. You notice that I can see my fill before it ticks up? That's funny. Okay, well, let's just hold it for a little bit. Let's see if I let myself get scared out there or not. The thing is we had an event, it pushed through, and then there was some iceberging, and I did see stops at 31.5. It was close. It was close. So it wasn't necessarily a bad thing for me to have waited for it. But that also means, hey, they might still do it. And there could be some real fireworks up there. So I think there's still a really good chance they go for it. But, it's probably maybe like a 55% chance. And it kind of really depends on the E-mini, doesn't it? Okay, so let's go to Patreon here. Oh, by the way, let me show you here really quick. 83, that's not bad. I really wanted another 8-tick day, but
YouTube, Lucas, you can't go broke taking 10 tick profits, huh?
right. Oh, well, I wanted 12. Well, it wasn't that I wanted 12. It's kind of funny. I don't know. Maybe I should be a little bit more skeptical when I see this, but it seems to me that very often the numbers match up. It's like I'll get in at a spot and then I'll look at where my 8-tick target ends up being, and it's exactly where it should be. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought they could get it. Well, look, maybe they will. Maybe they will. We're going to get some. We would need about 800 more. Well, there you go. I would have gotten it. There you go. Oh, well. I did the safe thing. It's okay. But my gut was right. Oh, we need to generate the charts. I'm like, where are my Bitcoin charts? There we go. Now that said, they didn't just blow through 131, so pretty good chance that they distribute a bit here. When you look at it on the chart, that's a good run. I'm kind of looking back on it now and like going like, well, how did I manage that one? I just wish that I hadn't ended up taking that swallowing that loss earlier. Well, they're really stacking up on the bid now.
Twitch, Sci4HBP1RMZ. Hi, I'm from atwitch.com. Atwitch.com. Your channel has bad positions due to the small number of viewers. We will be happy to help you with the promotion. We have a lot of great features
No,
like chat, gradual buildup of viewers who will promote you to the top and will help you earn on your favorite business.
that's
YouTube, Lucas, if you ever sold trading material, you show that trade.
you show that trade. You
Block
think,
buy.
oh baby, there you go. Should I show that trade though as an example of a good trade, or should I show that trade as an example of, oh, you should have held it. You didn't get the right exit. No, I think it was the right exit. Hey, look, when you get one of these, that's pushing. They pushed it through, and then there was some distribution. You probably should get out. So I probably should have gotten out on the iceberg. Oh well. You know what? There was a good chance I was going to get filled at 31.5 anyways. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. See, this is where, this is really, well, hold on. Let me type something first.
YouTube, Lucas, nah, good trade, good entry, and you took what she gave at that moment.
What's going on here? Oh, here it is. So something's wrong. Did I? Oh, that was it. Okay, cool. No, we're good. Some of my comments are not very, very long. Okay, Wednesday. Can you believe it's only Wednesday? It seems like it's been a long. I guess it's because I'm
YouTube,
all by myself.
Lucas, oh my those bids.
Yeah, you see the way that they stacked that up, man? That is going. I should have held that. Like, here's the thing: if I had decided not to take it off there, and then they had come back up to that 31.5, I think I would have moved it, because of the now all of the sudden. Remember before I was saying, man, the liquidity does not look very good.
YouTube, Ace Trades, what did I miss? I am back.
Okay, so let me go back through the whole scenario. When we were at 25.5, I took a long, and it was a very, very difficult and long trade, and I wanted to get 12 ticks out of it.
YouTube, Lucas, I said I'd fade those 010, but seeing those stacks underneath. Wait.
Yeah. So we came up to 25.5, and then my target was 31.5, and they traded 400 into me and then traded back down. And I started to see it being difficult, so I said, okay, I should probably take the exit. So I took 2 ticks below where I wanted to. And then it ranged around a little bit, and then they did go up and they took me. But when they took me, the bids started stacking. So before, we were maybe like 2,000 at every level. And now all of a sudden through this whole area, there's all of this liquidity, 4,000 at every level. So that's why I was saying, you know what? If I had left that there, I hope I would have moved it. And even now, even at this point, I think that it could keep going a little bit more. Although a lot of it here is that the E-mini did just take like another dive, right? And I don't have the Twitter, so I don't know if I don't know if there's some news. Let's hear. Donald Trump tweeted something. Now the press is trying to sell the fact that I wanted a moat stuffed with alligator. Oh, a moat. He misspelled moat. Text prediction. A moat stuffed with alligators and snakes with an electrified fence and sharp spikes on top at our southern border. I may be tough on border security, but not that tough. The press has gone crazy.
YouTube Ace Trades. Wow, that sucked. Your treasury guys. Lol.
Right. It was, you know what? It's so this was the earlier point that I wanted to make. Remember what we were talking about earlier about, you don't want to get into that thing where like you start to judge your self-worth based off of something else. So I can't sit down and be like, well, because I didn't play the trade absolutely perfectly. Like I got 83, that's pretty good. And what happened, and it was a good win. Sure, there was mistakes. I'm really mad about this one because that could have been break even or -2, and then I would have had a $125 day. But it does what it does. It kind of sucks. Well, we were the wrong way in the E-mini, but whatever. Kind of sucks that we didn't get a short in the E-mini, but that one I would have rather played in the Treasuries anyways. Kind of frustrating that when we were back there that they fought it so hard. But this is definitely in buy mode still. Like I'm a little excited about this because money is coming in to this market. And I think that we could continue to have some good trading in treasuries. I should be cautious still because the way that first trade worked out was kind of a little weird. And so there's still a possibility that things like peter out and reverse really quickly. But it's still a possibility. There's your exit right there, 0.5. So that's still a possibility, but overall, I would say things look pretty optimistic in terms of us having more volatility in treasuries to make money from. So, and to be at 83, that puts my account up in a good spot. And I did take those ones live. So you can see there's the one there. So cool. All right, guys. What you guys got anything else? Any closing remarks? Oh, one other thing. You were saying if you ever make trading materials, you make sure you put that one in there. I will never sell. I would sell mentoring materials, but I don't think I will ever sell like trading materials because to me, I think that is completely beside the point. It's like the wrong way to go about it. You don't want to go and take one person's strategy and then try and base your strategy off of. That's never going to work because their strategy is based on them, the way that they think, the way that their emotions are.
Maybe a pull back short at 2,892.00 if it gets back up.
Yeah. And if everybody tries doing the same strategy, then it's just going to make you a target. It's like with Ace. Like Ace has some really great trades. It would make sense to just take literally every trade that Ace posts in here. You probably would make money, right? But it's also pretty specific to Ace's own circumstances. And so I have to see some other things on my end to say, okay, yeah, that's worth taking or not. And I wish I knew more about how a strategy worked because then I would be able to put more discretion into whether or not I take them. But so I would never do trading materials. But what I would be willing to do is mentoring, right? So like, especially if it was something that was like, $50 for an hour or something like that. And what I would do during mentoring,
Ace trades, and if you paid for Ace's trade and then he gets hit by a bus, then you are screwed.
Then you are screwed, right? Exactly. But what I would do in mentoring is I would say, okay, what is your strategy? And what are some things about your strategy that I know for a fact are bad? And what are some things that I know for a fact would be beneficial to your strategy and help you work through your strategy and your emotions and not providing education materials that are, hey, you do this,
YouTube
you'll
Ace
win.
Trades, short 2891.50.
Okay, let's watch this one. This one could be good. So yeah, you know, probably won't do that. Now, another thing that has come up is NinjaTrader approached me about becoming a vendor and selling some indicators. And I feel really conflicted about it because I don't want to be another one of those guys that, oh, well, you're not actually making money from trading. That's why you're selling your indicators. I don't want to be that person. You know, we're doing pretty okay right now. I'm pretty stoked about it. Um, but I was talking to my wife the other day, and the way she was talking, she was kind of like, "Well, you're being kind of dumb." It's like, why wouldn't you just sell it? Like, if people say, "Oh, you're just selling it because you don't make money," you can just show them your results, or you can just say, "Well, I don't care what other people think." But the point that she made that I thought was
YouTube
important,
Ace Trades, 2 points. Leave a few on.
good job, that I thought was important was, I do have some indicators that can provide you statistical information. It's not like they wouldn't even tell you to make trades. They would just tell you things that you could base a strategy off of, though. And that's some statistical stuff that I think that other people could really use. And so, and it is value. And so I feel like from my free market approach that I'm almost, if I have something that can provide that much value to the market, that I'm obligated to do it. Which kind of sucks because it's a bit of work and I don't want to do
YouTube
it.
Lucas, to be fair, you show your trades on live stream, so it's not the same as saying you trade and not showing stats.
Sure, but a lot of the trades that I take are sim. The ones that these past 2 days, well, and a lot of the trades that I took yesterday were sim too. So I do trade sim but the difference between me and some other people is they'll trade sim and they say that it's live, and then it turns out that it was all fake, and you're like, oh, you were lying to me this whole time. So yeah,
YouTube Ace Trades at Lucas agreed. It's all live, no matter if it's sim.
yeah. I think that the simulator here is accurate enough. It's actually more stingy. It's kind of weird when I take the live trades because I get filled before I think I should. In fact, I usually see it come off before I see the orders hit the DOM. Isn't that interesting? So the signal for my fill comes before the
YouTube
data
Ace
for.
Trades, if the calls are good, they are good. Doesn't matter if you don't make money.
Yeah, that's totally true. Well, it matters if you don't have the aspect. But that's the thing, is that it's like people do it for other people. It's like, okay,
YouTube Lucas, yup.
you took some trades. They were on sim. So you made some successful trades, but you didn't actually make money from it. And people will say, well, so then it doesn't matter. Now, part of that is because live and sim are different. But a part of that is just kind of like ego. It's like, well, you can't actually claim that you were profitable because you didn't actually make money off of it. But I say, for the purpose of helping other people, it doesn't matter because that still shows you some edge that they can
YouTube
take
Ace
advantage
Trades,
of.
although it seems crazy to spend so much time and not make a dime, up at 5:30, 3 hours later.
Yeah, but you know what, man? If you're trading, you have to accept that that's going to happen. Because even if I was doing really well, the amount of money that you're going to make on a tiny account like mine is going to be like minimum wage, So you got to accept that you're doing it because you enjoy it, and you might not necessarily make enough money to make it actually worth it. But the entertainment value of it, or whatever, the personal development value of it, more than makes up, don't you think? Okay, well, I have to still feed the birds and everything like that, so I should probably get going. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you give the video a like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, because the bell icon will help you find us when we go live. We're here every morning, so the bell icon definitely helps. Most subscribers, according to the data, actually do hit the bell icon. So, don't be a square or whatever the deal is. And again, check out the technical analysis
YouTube
video.
Ace Trades, that is the power of scaling up 2 points a day, 3 weeks later at another contract.
Yeah, could be. We could see. a couple more days like this, and we could add another contract. So we'll see. I could add another contract on the E-mini.
YouTube, Lucas, if only I were that consistent at ace trades.
I wish. Yeah, me too. Okay. Well, maybe I am. Maybe, we haven't seen this strategy long enough. Maybe we have turned that corner on consistency. But we'll see. We'll see. Tomorrow I might just all blow up. So never count your chickens. Don't get the ego involved. This is the key. All right. Later. Stay profitable.